Hey guys, Susanna here. Well, I'm back and I finished. I'll show you. I've got this piece. So I've done all in embroidery, done that extra bit here, all the bits and pieces. And what I've done is I've sewn around, this is how much embroidery you can see that I've done. I've sewn around the outside, which is where that line was, because I'm thinking, how the heck am I going to put it all together? So what I'm going to do, I did initially have these bits that I was going to use the strips to put in there, but I've changed my mind and I'm going to use this bit. So I'll just stick that out there like that and pin it down on the inside so it ain't going to go anywhere, and also hold it down because I need something that's going to be I'm hanging it in my room. Now I haven't finished my room just yet, but by the time you see this in the next video, I'll have it all done and hung up, and I'll show you. My room's nearly done. It's taking a little while. There's always hold-ups, isn't there? Actually, I might go that way. There we go. Maybe further down because we don't want to interfere with the sewing machine, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. Okay, so what I want to do is we need to use that as a guideline, and what I'm going to do actually, now in your kit you will have an opening, so you know, leave the opening there. I'm going to leave it here because I think it's going to be quite tricky to cut, to get the sewing machine to go here. So I'm going to leave the opening around about that long. Hopefully you can see where I am. So that's where my opening will be for when I sew. I also took those little bits off here because they were dangling down. So okay, now what we're going to do is I'm going to place that on there like that. And the reason why I've sewn along there, because that is now my sewing guideline. See how the sewing machine is probably going to have all sorts of trouble. I might even bring it in a little bit more actually. And I'm making that width because it's got to turn inside out. Yeah, so the sewing machine will have all sorts of trouble trying to get past that bulky thing. It'll be alright on that side. So what I'm going to do is hop on the sewing machine, might pin it down while I'm waiting, and pin it down that way. There we go. I'm not moving on me. And then sew all around, leaving that gap. My bedroom is looking so gorgeous. I just love it. So get that to hold it down. So where I'm going to start is I'm going to start here and go all the way around, and these are my stopping points. So just holding it down. I've just finished cutting up all the pieces of the fabric, and man, it was hard cutting it because it's such gorgeous fabric. And I've got enough to have like 46 kits, which is pretty awesome. And the fabric just lends itself out to, where are my little, you know, that shape. So you'll get really odd shape. Where are they? Oh, odd shaped pieces. And I've got a few odd little bits and pieces left over as well. It's just gorgeous. So you'll get something that's sort of shaped. I've had to go, when I cut like that. In the end, they'll be like that. So they're odd shaped pieces, but it's perfect size for those hearts, which is really good. Okay, so now I will go off, and so we will start here, work all the way around, and then I'll be back. Okay, we are back again. So I've sewn all the way around. Oh, looks like I've sewn all that, sewn a piece of thread in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this, and we can cut those bits out. So we're going to cut around the edge using that piece as a bit of a guide. And then what we're going to do too is sort of snip some of the pieces, so when you turn it inside out, it'll be easier to stuff. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. Okay, that bit's being held down by here. Okay, so got all these bits, tuck them away. Okay, now you can snip in the middle, but make sure that you don't snip what you've just cut. I'll sort of do a bit of a small, there's my little one, small snip around. If you want, you can always make it smaller, because it is around. You don't have to do this, but I find that it just makes it a little easier. Especially on these end bits. And then when you get to here, the bit, here's a bit, oh here we go, this is open. You cut it there, and then you cut it there, because that's going to be sort of where we're going to, you know, tuck it over. Yep. Just makes it a little bit easier when we turn it inside out, and hopefully it'll be okay. Okay. There we go. Now what we do, this is going to be the tricky bit. We need to turn it inside out. Which isn't always easy, because of that. That's why, see, I did this in this opening, because it's going to make it a little bit easier for me to turn that part inside out. There we go. Okay. Getting there. May need to get the iron onto it, because it'll be all, actually we're going to be stuffing it, so we probably don't need the iron. Okay. Now, okay, just get in there and poke. Okay. Take that out. And there I've got my bit that I'm going to be that's going to be holding it up to the piece that I want. So you just get in there and you sort of, this is why we need to snip it, because you want to get the curved angles and make sure. I've got quite a big knitting needle that hasn't got a really pointy edge. Get a one that's like a bit like that. Okay, come out now. See, there's the line there, and that is going to be, might give it a bit of an iron. That will be tucked under once we've stuffed it all. Give it a little bit of an edge. Okay, finger press with your fingernails, and that's where we're going to close it with a ladder stitch after we've put all the stuffing in there. Now I don't want to stuff it too full. There we go. Looking cute. Oh, I like it. Now, actually, I'm going to push that out a bit so you sort of see why you do need to snip it a little bit, because it's quite chunky. Okay, and that's going to be the bit that I'm going to attach to my little birdie cage. But you guys can put it wherever you want to put it. This is personal. So you won't probably have all these bits and pieces. You can probably have a bit of lace on there, but you won't have all those bits and pieces. Okay, so now I'm going to get the stuffing out. Some stuffing. Ooh. Still in camera? Yep, cool. Now I haven't zoomed it in too much, which is good. So now the secret to good stuffing is not get massive bits. You know, like you really do want to get like, you know, not too big a bits. So we're going to get the corners first, make sure that we get them all stuffed. Sort of bits like that size is good. I mean, this has made it a little bit hard in a lot of places, but I'm glad I put it on there because I don't know where else I would probably use it. It's quite nice, bit of blingy. So stuff it. Actually, I might as well stuff it this way, that way you get something pretty to look at while I'm stuffing. So get it fairly firm. We'll probably end up using all of this stuffing, I think. So what I could probably do is turn it off on that. It's gotten a bit squarish over in that corner. Happens sometimes. Oh well, that's how it goes. I'm still debating whether I put a bit of lace or something underneath. I will probably do that a little bit later on. So what I will do is I will turn it off so you don't have to bear, you get my drift with the stuffing, and I will probably not going to have it too much bigger, and I'll come back. Okay, I'm back again. It's stuffed. Sounds funny, doesn't it? Got those bits out there. Now we're going to have it, make it so it's stuffed so it's like it's bulging out. I forgot to also tell you how big this thing is. It's about 11 inches in height compared to when we made these little small ones. That's how much bigger it is. So it's 11 inches in height, 6 in the biggest part, maybe 3 in the smallest. So yeah, quite a good size. Okay, now what we need to do, so we've got it all you've got it all stuffed. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in here. Now you put a fairly, this is where you get strong thread. I've gotten strong vintage thread. You get really strong. You can double it up, but this is quite strong. So now what we're going to do here is what's called a ladder stitch, and it's good that we've got the guideline because we know how far up we need to go. So with the ladder stitch you go sort of go from one side to the other. This is how you do dolls and other stuff. Grab a bit, do this, and then so you do it just above that line, so it's good that that line is there. Now I recommend that's probably enough. So what you do is you pull, and see how that pulls that in. It's a great little stitch, and you pull as you go. So you just go across, over. If you don't feel comfortable doing this stitch, that's okay. You can just, you know, do a stitch whatever you're comfortable with, but this is a really great little stitch for closing, and this is how you do a closing stitch. Ugh. Okay, so now I've got another bit that I was going to do. So what we do, see, got a few, so I pull, make sure that it's got to be really careful. That's why you need strong thread, that you don't break it. Okay, so grabbing a piece there, a little piece on here. Now you get the idea. Feels like it's not stuffed properly in there, but once we have closed it up, I'm going to sort of poke and prod and get it so it's, I didn't want it too full. It was a lot fuller than what I would have liked it to have been. Okay, you do about 3 or 4 and then pull. Be really careful, as I have broken many a thread where I've come right down to the bottom and then it's gone break. That's why if you don't feel comfortable with this one, like a little slip stitch would be okay too. If you want to leave it just like this, that's and not do the edging that I'm going to be doing. This is the good stitch to use because you don't see it, but I'm going to be using, remember this piece of fabric that I said I was going to do? I've ironed it. That's one of the pieces that are like that, you know, when you get heaps of trim that's like that, if you cut that bit off it becomes quite a bit longer. So I'm going to be sewing that on, but not how you think. So I might pause it and show you what to do once you get to the end. Okay, here we are at the last bit. So what we do is we just pull that last bit and then see if you need to pull it a little bit tighter along the way, and then we just, I like to do a few little stitches this way, just closing it shut, and then do a knot and go through like that out there, and then you can cut it. Now we're going to be using this thread, so what I was thinking, wait, knot on the bottom. Okay, so here we go. I'll make it a little bit bigger again. Oop, wrong way, so you can see all of it. So I'm going to just squish it down, just give it a bit of a jiggle and push in the places that you need it to be done. In hindsight, I probably should have put this like a little bit more in the middle, but you just never know what it's going to turn out like. Okay, so see, it's fairly bulky but not too bad. Now what I would like to do, now this is the bit that's going to be hanging on. Okay, move it over. I think it still looks pretty good. I really love that little bit of bling on that. Okay, moving my whole table and squishing it all in, so you squish it that bit. There we go. Now here we've got our little hanging heart. Now what I wanted to do with this, the best bit to start this is probably here, because this is the bit that we are going to be, you know, like that's the most annoying piece that you have to get around. So I might just pin it first to see whether I'm going to get all the way around. So okay, now the reason why I folded it is because I am going to just do a little bit of a slip stitch along here. Probably just go down, to be honest. Might have to go a bit further there because I don't want to be covering up the S. There we go. And down. Something a little different. We might just put a pin in each one of those little places, eh? So we know where we're going. This is where it becomes a little awkward. I'll have to fold that down. Like this, I would say. There we go. I mean, this is something that you don't have to do because it looks all right as is without an edging. Or if you wanted to do while you're sewing it, you can do a bit of rickrack in between, like a bigger size rickrack. Okay, it's amazing. When it was attached like that, I didn't have enough of this. Now I'm going to actually have some left, which is amazing how much extra you get when you unpick them. Okay, now this is going to be the bit that's going to be a little bit interesting. What I'll probably do is just sort of come up. I'll cut it off here. But what I might do, there goes the pin. There we go. Even more so, cutting it. So coming out the back. Yeah, that still should be all right. Okay, so I've got that one coming forward a little bit more, so I will just have that right on the edge, have that going down, and then this one is going to come down in front of it. There we go. Okay, so might have to have a bit of a fold or whatever there. So that's how it will look on the back, and then on the front I'm going to be stitching it down, and it's got a little bit of lace that gives it that edge like that. It may look a little funny at the moment, but I decided it was something a little bit different. But because I've got lace on my my hanging piece, that's gonna suit me. So what we do is, where's this piece here? I'm going to start here, probably come up underneath here. There we go, so you don't see that piece. And then might put that further back. It's got to do what suits, because I don't want to be covering that S. Okay, so what we do is we're just going to do, hopefully that's close enough, I might hop up, is just do a little slip stitch around the back. You just catch your piece. Oop, sorry. Every time I do this I always bring it towards myself. So just a little slip stitch like that, and I'll be going all the way around, and so I won't have you watching me do this because it's going to be rather boring. And as we go along, take out the pins and fold if you need to, like, you know, fold bits just so it makes it sit down. And then on the other side I'm probably going to do, see, that would be really nice, having a bead in between each piece. You can make it as elaborate or as not. So okay, so I'll pause and then I'll be back. Okay, back again. Well, I've stitched on this all around the back. Now this bit, I will say, it was a little bit tricky. I even got the glue out, so, but you're going to remember I am going to be sticking my mother's brooch up there, so that may hide a fair bit of that there. Still see whether I'm going to do that or not, because I want to see the end. Okay, so I've gotten bits here, like here, where I've folded it because it's gone around. Down here where I've got a pin, I folded that over, sort of did that little bit of a, so that it would sit down here. So what I'm going to do for this is, I've got this thread, it's probably a bit too long. I've got this thread here, which is what I used in the other one. So because this, I did it, I sewed it, and you can see it a little bit, but because it's at the back it's not so bad. So I've still got these bits which I will pin down again just to get them out of the way, and then I'm going to, it is a massive piece, I might just cut it in half. If you hear voices, don't worry. It's just, I'd rather work with a smaller piece and then get a second piece. my plumber's working on my laundry, which is good. Yay! Finally going to get my laundry in place. So what I'm going to do now, I don't know whether I start here. Probably not a bad idea. Start on this bit here. And I was thinking, here we go. It was a little tricky trying to get that to sit down, so I will admit that. Sometimes it takes a little bit to get things to look nice and how you want them. So I am going to get this little pin out and just give it a bit of a stitch. And I wanted to do it in this colour so that you couldn't see it. Now I may have to go in that way. Here we go. So I just pick it up, a bit like the other one. This might be proved to be a little trickier. Only just in this part. Looks like a little, you know, the little house on the prairie. Those cute little bonnets that they used to have. Okay. Okay, once I get that first bit down, I think the rest won't be so bad. So what I might do, there we go. Sorry, I've got it all over the place, which is really awkward for you guys. And you just want to grab a piece and hold that down. Once I get out of this awkward spot, I think it'll be easier. So what we're going to do, I think, see how it's got, we'll probably put a stitch here, a stitch there, maybe on one stitch on each loop, if you know what I mean. And because it's the same colour, you won't see it. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see this. You can get me sitting there fighting with it. Okay, now that we're in business, so, and it may not sit down as, you know, nicely as it's supposed to, but you just got to grab it every now and again and do the stuffing. Okay, I'm going to grab that, and then grab that, come out through there, and because it's the same colour, this is why we need to have a thread that's the same colour. Come out through there. There we go. Now we're in business. Seem to be having a little bit more of a flow. So just grab a piece, and stitch it down. There we go. I may come back on the end of these and put a little bit of a bead. We'll see. So there we go. Now we're getting into a bit of a swing of things. So it's going to be a little bit of a tedious job, but I think it will look rather sweet. You see that's puckering up a little bit and a little bit odd, but like I said, I'm going to put mum's brooch there, and if I don't, I may even just put a button or something like that. So okay, well, I'll be back when it's all sewed around, and then that'll be finished and I'll show you. Okay, I am back. If I said that was easy, I'd be lying. Okay, that's what it looks like. Hang a minute, that was the last bit that I got in there. So this, I ended up putting a button there because that didn't fit, but as this is sort of sticking out a little bit, I thought I'd put that underneath there. My mum's name was actually Susanna as well, so that's where I've inherited my mother's name, so that sort of balances it out there. So I really love how this has turned out. I may undo it and put it a little bit lower because it's sitting just a little bit too close to the S. So that's a beauty of it being a brooch. And there we go. See how we go with it. Is that going to work? Yep. Okay. Yeah, this might be something that you have in your room. I've just personalised it with me and my husband's name, and that's going to be hanging. I will show you in the next video at the start of it. I might even just show you my room. It's looking rather pretty. I think that is I'm really happy with how that looks. You could probably even just have it as is, do a little bow, have it sitting on your dressing table, you know, whatever you wanted to do. Yeah, I just love it. I think it is really pretty, but I'm going to be using it to hang. It would look nice on your dressing table, or you could put your brooches or your hairpins or whatever it is, but it's made special to me because this is part of my wedding dress, and so is that. And I may go, if you want to, you can go extra and put little beads along there, but I quite like that. It's something a little bit different, but I mean, I did have to do you know, a few little folds here and there, but there we go, guys. I hope you like that, and I have got quite a few kits on my Etsy store, and yeah, go home and create your bits and pieces. I think it's so cute. You'll see it a little bit better once you see it in my picture. Okay guys, thanks for watching. I've really enjoyed making this, and the fabric is stunning. If you want to just get the kit and, you know, use the fabric for something else, but it's specially designed to have it that big. So remember, 11 inches by, well, at the top 6, so it's quite a big size, you know, compared to my hands. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Bye.